Hey guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do a video showing you my book picks for day 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Read So Lit photo challenge that I'm doing over on Instagram. So we got quite a lot of books, so let's get started. Day 1, of course, was a TBR, which if you want to see my TBR, you can click over and watch that video. It'll be linked below. And then day 2 was current read. So my current read is The Blueprint, and that's by Rayjana Rashad. I have not exactly gotten into this too much. I've read like maybe the first 10 pages. But on the other hand, I'm also reading Lot, which is a short story collection, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the writing. Yeah, I kind of wish I would have picked this up when everybody else was picking it up because we could have gushed together, But for the moment, I'm on the 3rd story in this short story collection, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Day 3, the prompt was brown. So I had to go through my book collection. I was like, oh my God, I don't have a lot of brown books by Black American writers. So this is what I came up with. The first book on the list is Soldier, A Poet's Childhood, June Jordan. Now this is a book that I found in a secondhand shop in Paris that I picked up, and I still have not read the damn thing yet. I mean, I really do like June Jordan's works, so I need to get to this so I can learn more about the woman. The next book that I picked up that I could find on my shelves that was brown was The Residue Years, a novel by Mitchell S. Jackson. Now this is I guess you would say it's a memoir. Sadly, I have not read this yet. Oh, Jesus. Have not read it yet. So I'm sure it's very good, but I have not read it yet. And I don't think I know anyone who has actually read it. Now, if anybody here that's been following me has read it, please let me know what you thought about it. But yeah, need to get to that. This one I received as a Christmas present, and it's called Black AF History, The Unwhitewashed Story of America by Michael Harriot. And this one I hope to get to at some point this year. Maybe saving this one for Nonfiction November, not so sure. I kind of want to read at least one nonfiction a month. So it's a possibility I get to this before we get to the 6-month mark of the year. This one has had excellent reviews. I can't wait. I can't wait to read it because I know I'm going to love it. Now, the next one is another used copy by Just Above My Head, James Baldwin. Now, this is one that I have not read yet, but I do plan on reading something Baldwin this year, if not 2 things Baldwin. Raymond, that you saw on my Fun and Games with Ray and Kay, he is spotlighting James Baldwin this year over on Instagram. So he's encouraging people to read James Baldwin books and essays. So Just Above My Head is probably one that I should probably get to because it is one that I should have read by now. I think I've owned this short story copy for a minute, So this is not a particularly short book either. This one is coming in at 500 pages, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. So yeah. And the last book that I have on my list for the color brown is Grace by Natasha Dion. Now, this is a funny book because I picked it up right away and I thought it would be really, really good, but did not get a chance to actually read the book. This one has been hanging around for a minute. It's a slave narrative. I'm just going to read you a little bit so you have an idea what it's about. It says, for a slave in the 1840s South, life on the run can be just as dangerous as life under a sadistic massa. That's what 15-year-old Naomi learns after she escapes the brutal confines of life on an Alabama plantation and takes refuge in a Georgia brothel run by a gun-toting Jewish madam named Cynthia. Amidst a revolving door of gamblers and prostitutes, Naomi falls into a love affair with a smooth-talking white man named Jeremy. Yeah. I need to get to this one. So, yeah, this is Grace by Natasha Dion, which I don't feel a lot of people read this book when it came out. I don't remember a lot of people here on BookTube talking about it. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely make an effort for this one at some point this year, because you know me and my slave narratives. You know I don't mind a good one. A good one. Now, this one doesn't sound to be so typical, so I'm kind of interested. All right, so that was all for day 3, Brown. Okay, now day 4 was autographs. So this was interesting because I have a lot of autographed books from a lot of different authors, but I had to make sure they were all by Black Americans because I did not want to do books that were not by Black Americans. So it took me a minute to go through them and figure out what I was going to show. Okay, so the first book I'm going to talk about is Hell of a Book. I still haven't read this book yet. I picked it up at the Festival America in 2022. And it's funny because I was with my friend Francine and with my friend Rosa, and we were coming out of one of the arenas, and we came out and we saw Jason Mott being interviewed. So we waited, and he was happy to talk to us, and he autographed our books. So there you have it. And this is the Shakespeare & Co. stamp, because I bought it there at the Shakespeare & Co. stand. So that's the first book. Now, what is this book about? It says, wait. We don't actually know his name. What we do know about him is he's an author on tour for his new bestseller, Hell of a Book. And as people keep telling him, it's a hell of a book. Some of these people may or may not be real because he has, let's say, an overactive imagination. For example, only he can see the kid, a young Black boy, who may or may not be the young Black boy on the news. The one who was shot by the police, the one who everyone is protesting about. Or he might be any of the others. He may be all of them, or none of them. That may or may not be important. He may even be our author telling us this story. And all of this may or may not be happening every single day. This hell of a world needs this hell of a book. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea what it's about. I'm excited. I'm still excited to read this one, and the plan is to get to it this year. The next book I got autographed was from Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I got Between the World and Me autographed. Now, this book, everybody knows what this book's about, so I don't need to really tell you about that. It's a letter from a Black father to his Black son. And to get this autograph, let me tell you, Ta-Nehisi Coates came, I think it was the year before the pandemic. He came to Paris, and I went to see him at a museum in Paris. And it was the first time I regretted that I had sat in the front row. Because if I would have sat in the back row, I would have had a chance to get my book autographed. So I could not get this book autographed. I could not get the other one, 8 Years in Power. I couldn't get that one autographed either. And literally, there was only 2 people in front of me, and they picked up the table and everything and, whisked Ta-Nehisi Coates out of the place. And it was over and I couldn't get my book signed, and I was furious, like furious. So I was thinking that's never going to happen. And sure enough, it did, because he came to the Festival of America and signed my book. So that's how that happened. Also at Festival America, I bought this one, which is Mississippi Solo by Eddie L. Harris. And he signed my book. And this book I highly recommend. You see all the tabs there. This was a book that we read in my Read So Lit book club over on Patreon. And it basically discusses a man who is taking a trip down the Mississippi in a canoe with no real expertise of rowing or any of that stuff. And the book follows his journey. And let me tell you, this book was phenomenal. It was very, very good. It really shows you a lot about, how reflective and how determined people can be to do something, and what that journey helps them to discover about themselves. And we had the pleasure of having Eddie L. Harris at our book club. He was phenomenal. He told us a lot about himself. He was very personable. We had a great book club chat with him. So I highly recommend it if you don't know who he is. This is Eddie L. Harris when he went on his trip down the Mississippi the first time. Since then, I think he said he's done it either once or twice, 1 or 2 times since the first time he did it. Highly recommend this one. This is a beautiful edition as well. You should try to get this one. This is, let's see, what edition is this? John Murray edition. Very nice. Okay, now, the next book that I got autographed was Sugar by Bernice L. McFadden. Now, you know how I love me some Bernice L. McFadden. And I had the pleasure of meeting her in New Orleans, where she currently is living. She teaches over at Tulane University. She's a professor of creative writing over there. And it was one summer when I was home and she came to my house. We had a chat, we had a drink, and she signed my books. And it was great. So if you haven't read Sugar, my God, where have you been if you haven't read Sugar? So it says, evoking the rich atmosphere of the Deep South, Sugar tells the story of a young prostitute who comes to Bigelow, Arkansas to start a new life. Sugar moves next door to Pearl, who is still grieving for her daughter who was murdered 15 years before. Over sweet potato pie, an unlikely friendship begins, transforming both their lives and the life of an entire community. This book is so, so good. Like, I mean, it's not even that long. It's 229 pages, but it is so well crafted. And these two women, Sugar and Pearl, are just, oh my God, the friendship of a lifetime, these two. When you see how one gives the other what they need, yes, Jesus. This is what it is when you have a good friend, when you have something that friend needs and you're able to give it to them, and they have something that you need and they're able to give it to you. Like the ideal friendship. Just so, so beautifully written, this book. Highly recommend it. Okay, the next thing I got autographed was Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad, which I did enjoy. Here we go. There we have it. And this book was, oh, so good. It's good, but so you got to get your mind right. It's tragic. Now, I know a lot of people don't particularly get along well with Colson Whitehead's writing, but this one, I think it's actually a very good book, and it's one that everybody should try to read. It says, Cora is a slave on a cotton plantation in Georgia. All the slaves lead a hellish existence, but Cora has it worse than most. An outcast even among her fellow Africans, she is approaching womanhood, where it is clear that even greater pain awaits. when Cesar, a slave recently arrived from Virginia, tells her about the Underground Railroad, they take they take the perilous decision to escape to the north. Oh, Jesus. This book has a very particular tone to it. It feels very speculative fiction. Even though, we're talking about the Underground Railroad. And the Underground Railroad in this book is a real railroad. And that's something that Colson Whitehead takes and uses it as an interesting metaphor throughout the book. Highly recommend that you read this one. It's very good. And last but not least, I have Night Crawling by Layla Motley. She signed my book. Look at that beautiful autograph. She signed my book at the Festival America. So I saw her there. She was an invited author from the U.S. because the Festival America focuses on works from the Americas, from South America, Central America, Canada, the U.S., and the Caribbean. And so she was invited, and she was fantastic. She's so young. I mean, she wrote this, I think, when she was 19. And I haven't gotten to this one yet, but I know that I'm going to love it. I just know I'm going to love it. I would find it very strange if I didn't love this. But she was more interested in the copy because she had never seen a copy like this with the black and sort of like this sunburst black edges. She thought, oh, wow. I said, yeah, I got this one in London. It came from London, this edition. And she was just like, beautiful, beautiful. So this book is based off of a real incident. So it says, Kiara Johnson does not know what it is to live as a normal 17-year-old. With her mother in a halfway house and an older brother who devotes his time and money to a recording studio, she fends for herself and for 9-year-old Trevor, whose own mother is prone to disappearing for days at a time. As the landlord of their apartment block threatens to raise their rent, Kiara finds herself walking the streets after dark, determined to survive in a world that refuses to protect her. So this young woman has written a book that's based off of something, an event that happened. I think it's in California where it happened. Police officers preying on young women and forcing them into prostitution, something like that. I'm really determined to read this book this year because I'm like, why have you not read this book yet? Oh, the struggle with all these good books. So that was the last one that I could find that was autographed by a Black American writer. Okay, so last but not least, we have day 5, which is today. And day 5's prompt was a drink and a book or / books. And I took a picture with this one right here, which is a new release by Kylie Reed called Come and Get It. So I just dipped in it a little bit to read a little bit, the first 20 some odd pages, and I'm intrigued to go on a bit further on this. It just arrived today. Love this beautiful icy green cover. So we're going to see. This might get onto my TBR this month, my TBR stack this month, and I might just go ahead and full on out read this one as well. So we're going to see. You know how moody I am. I'm like a mood reader. So this was today's pick. And of course, I was drinking, guess what drink? Yes, I was drinking tea because that's all I drink is tea, water, and wine, and a little bit of champagne. So yeah, so that's it. So those were the picks that I took for day 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Read So Lit Read Along Photo Challenge. So I will be back in 5 more days, which will be day 10, to give you the lowdown on what I have been photographing. And who knows, maybe what I finished reading as well. Okay, so I will see you very soon with another video. I hope you are enjoying the Read So Lit challenge and that you are reading a few Black American authors this month. But of course, we know we read Black American authors 365. So I'll see you real soon. Bye.